welcome to a very first edition of On the Court for the Podium Finish. Now, TPF is typically a racing website, but we've been delving into women's sports and women's basketball. And I'm really honored to have our first professional women's basketball player kick things off for this segment, the first of many, hopefully, with this individual and everyone else from the Dallas Wings. And this would be, of course, rookie guard Jacy Sheldon. Jacy, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. It's nice to talk to you instead of in a press conference, and things are a little bit more relaxed than the
Right.
usual. Now, first of all, I got to ask you, I know you grew up in Ohio and Dublin, and I know you grew up in a family that was very gifted in athletics. So I'm just kind of curious, when did you realize basketball is what you wanted to do, given your love and passion for volleyball?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I grew up, spent most of my childhood in Cleveland, where my dad was a basketball coach for, the early years of my life. So I grew up in the gym. My mom was a volleyball coach, so kind of exposed to both of those. And I knew, I want to say, in middle school that basketball I just had a passion for the one-on-one competitiveness and just that I'm a super competitive person, so that kind of drew me to the basketball side of things. I did play basketball up until my last year of high school. So played them both for a long time, but basketball, I knew at a very young age was what I wanted to do.
And that's really cool to hear, just because some players or athletes just focus on one sport, but you're so talented that you knew basketball is what you wanted to do. Not everyone can say that, but I'm just curious, who were some of your earliest influences from the basketball court? I'm sure your dad was, but in terms of players.
Absolutely. My dad was a huge one. Taught me a lot of, what I know, kind of got me started with basketball. I had a lot of mentors throughout that time. Tyrell Jackson is my trainer who I started working with in high school, and he kind of elevated my game to the next level, and very thankful to have been working with him and continue working with him. And I'd say him and my dad, my brother, who was at Ohio University, 2 years younger than me, but we compete. We went at it, and as much as I hate to admit it, he's taught me a lot and helped my game elevate even more. But those are a couple people that I have to give credit to and have helped me just become an overall better player.
That's so cool to hear. And I'm glad for a sister that you actually agree that little
Oh,
brothers like us get things done.
absolutely.
Thank goodness. I'm gonna tell my sister this
Oh,
afterwards.
no.
Now, you showcase a lot of your talents, of course, as a point guard when you made a name for yourself at Dublin Kaufman High School. But how did growing up in Dublin itself shape you into who you are professionally and personally?
Oh, that's a really good question. I mentioned I spent most of so before high school, I grew up in Cleveland, and I honestly it's fun. Cleveland's fun. I think it's a different style of basketball too. And I think that's where a lot of my competitiveness, toughness comes from. And then obviously Kaufman's an outstanding school, and I learned a lot there, had great teams, basketball and volleyball, like you mentioned, and had some great coaches too. So I think being able to compete at that level, in Central Ohio was really cool, and being able to represent Kaufman and build relationships with a lot of people there was awesome.
Did you get to go to a few games growing up, like in going to the Cavs or going to the Ohio State's games growing up?
Absolutely. I only went to one Cavs game that I can remember when I was younger. My dad got us tickets to a playoff game up high, but it was awesome. It was back with LeBron, so it was a really cool experience. We're huge Cleveland sports fans, and then went to a couple of Ohio State games too. I think once that recruiting process started, went to some women's games, went to just a few men's games. Aaron Kraft was one of my favorite players watching on the men's side growing up, just his grit. But yeah, huge Cleveland and Columbus sports fans.
I love it. It's good to have some Buckeye love here on this show, just because not everyone says that. They like to say, oh, I actually like someone else out of state. So it's cool that
Right.
you're a local, to say the least. Now, I'm also curious too. You mentioned the word competitive in a lot of your interviews, and I could see it just because you came from practice. But another word that I often hear about you, Jacy, is that you're tough. And that was prevalent, especially during your years in Ohio State. How important was it for you to be tough and have that toughness mentally and physically playing in the Big Ten, going against all those players that you're now seeing in the WNBA?
Yeah, that's the key to the game, man. And you mentioned it, physically and mentally. Those are two of the most important things. And having that toughness throughout that whole journey, that college journey, and then even carrying over to this level. Like I said, I think that's one of the most important things you can have in this game. If you're not physically and mentally tough, it won't get you very far. So I think being able to share that, I think throughout Ohio State and kind of implement that into the culture was pretty cool. And then, like I said, being able to carry it over to this level and it gets you that much more further. So I thank my family for that, my dad for that. Both my parents are coaches, so it was instilled at me in a young age. But it's definitely something that's gotten me to this point.
It's really cool to hear you thanking your parents. And I know a lot of kids growing up, young folks, even in your 20s and 30s, you're probably like, but mom, dad, but I'm sure you were an open book to them, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Now, during your years in Ohio State, I'm curious, did you have any favorite rivalries or players that you went up against from different schools where you're like, oh yeah, game day's here. I
Of
cannot wait.
course, of course, everyone does. But definitely the team up north, who I'm still gonna call the team up north, even though I'm in Texas. Just for me, that's a different kind of rivalry. Growing up, for the kid from Ohio, being able to play them multiple times in the Big Ten, that's pretty special. So I always had a chip on my shoulder going against them, no matter what game it was. And then obviously Iowa and that team going against them, we always look forward to those matchups. They're always pretty intense between Ohio State and them, and I think you look forward to great players and great competition, and those are the games that make you a better player, and those are games competitors like to play in. So definitely those two teams.
It's fun to have rivalries with regional or just players from different states within the same conference. And I just love the fact that you're so loyal to Ohio. You just can't even say that state's name. If I even say it, I'm
Yeah,
sure you'll
no.
in an interview.
Yeah, we don't say that word.
We will not get to that. We'll stick away from that particular state for sure. Before you got drafted by the Dallas Wings, and I read this article by Sean McFarland from the Dallas Morning News. I thought this was a beautiful article, by the way. You said that Latricia Trammell was somebody I wanted to come play for. And I've seen it in her press conferences and the way she coaches and how she is with y'all. But what resonated with you and put you at ease to know that Coach LT was who you wanted to play for in the WNBA?
Yeah, we had a conversation before the draft that just really stuck out. Really great conversations, a lot of the same morals, and just talked a lot of basketball and talked. The conversation flowed and felt comfortable, and it was right away someone I knew I wanted to play for, a program I wanted to be a part of. So many good things. I wish I could explain all of it, but it was. I got off the call, knowing that that's where I wanted to go. Not knowing at the time that it would be where I was going to end up, but I got off the call like I want to play for this team. I want to be a part of this organization, and it was a pretty cool feeling. So actually being drafted here and being a part of it all now is pretty cool. Yeah,
it's awesome how things work out, and now you're with this team. I'm glad you're playing for us because it's good to have someone as refreshing as you. They say it a lot in the telecast. You just have so much energy on both ends of the court. Would you agree with that assessment, or you're kind of like downplaying that?
No, I would agree. I think that's something that I've been trying to do, since college. I have heard them say I don't get tired. That I don't agree with. I'm loving that everyone thinks that and it looks like that. Definitely happy about that. But I think it's funny when they say that. But playing with energy on both ends, I think just trying to get everyone going and up to that level and just being the energized bunny and being able to get buckets too and get stops. It's been a lot of fun.
I'm just saying Energizer should go and sponsor you. I don't know if that's the kind of thing they can do now in the W, but
Oh, that's awesome. I agree.
just just saying that would be a cool thing to see on for your endorsements. Wink, wink. Now we're still through and going through the first half of the season. I know it's been a trying time for the team, but one of the things I've been enjoying covering with this season is the fact you've gone from the bench, you've gotten some productive minutes on the court, and recently you've been a starter, which I'm sure that had to be a dream come true when you were a little girl going, oh my God, I'm going to be a starter for a competitive team. And I'm just curious, what it's been like for you to be entrusted among the starting five to catalyze the wings of both ends?
Yeah, we've had, you guys know, I mean, we've had a lot of injuries, a lot of illnesses, and moving up into that lineup has been awesome. But the goal stays the same. I think, the work stays the same as well. Still getting in the gym just as much and competing, and that will to win is still there. So we're still fighting. We will continue to fight. We got a really good, talented group who's staying together. So we're excited for the next matchups.
And it's evident with the team chemistry, not just during games, but when the Wings put the social media content. I just saw the one about what you guys watch as kids growing up with cartoons. And for someone born in the year 2000, JC, because I'm a little older than you,
I was born in
Tom and
2000.
you were into that. Tom and Jerry, really?
I watched it a lot. I don't know if that's credit to my parents. I don't know. Why? Is that an older show? Or are you saying that is like a
Yeah, like you're an old soul. Maybe you weren't supposed to be born
I
in
don't
that year.
know. I don't know. My brother would turn on a lot too, so I don't know. Maybe it was the people around me.
That's fair. I was gonna say I was taking you as more of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan or
I
something,
watched
but
that too. That was pretty good too.
there you go. Just hooking you up. Now, what's been some of the best advice you've gotten so far from this season, whether it's from Coach LT, Enrique or your teammates, or just someone from a different team who's gone up to you and given you their unsolicited tips?
Yeah, gosh, I've gotten a lot of really good advice, from this team, this organization specifically. I think just staying aggressive and staying hungry would be the best advice. Coming in as a rookie, it's an adjustment. It's a bit intimidating at first. I think I'm so comfortable now that I'm here and having people in your ear like Natasha and Enrique and Satu telling you to be aggressive. You better be aggressive. So I think that has meant a ton to me, and even coach and Jazz and our whole staff really just keeping building that confidence in me, and making sure I have it as well has been awesome of them.
And it's really evident the way you play out there. I don't even think of you as a rookie. I feel like you really belong already in the W. So it's a testament to those around you and your dedication on the court for sure, JC. And one thing I got to say about you, you have a well-rounded game, both offensively and defensively. What are some of the things defensively that you bring to the table to disrupt your opponents on a weekly basis, and how you've been strengthening the wings?
Yeah, that's a good question. I do like both ends of the floor a lot. Defensively, I think just making it as honestly as annoying as I can for the opposing person I'm guarding, and it's fun. It's fun just disrupting whether it's steals, deflections, just getting up in their grill. I think that's important, especially in this level. And then also being able to contribute on that offensive side too, and whether it's getting someone open, getting people looks, taking those shots when they're there. I think it's been a good balance, but I've definitely loved competing on the defense end in this league.
Yeah, it's really fun when you get to score your points, whether it's a layup or your trademark three. You get to the other end, and I'm seeing you're so like you're ready to get that ball back and
Yeah,
pass it. I just
quick turnaround.
it's so fun to watch that. And I can't wait to see it the rest of the season, to say the least. I got a few more questions for you, my friend. Now, of course, you've got so many people in your support system. Of course, your biggest fan has to be your little sister. I mean, I gotta say personally, I'm really touched whenever you see the two of you interact, when you talk about her. What does it mean to have her love and support, and also see the world from her eyes?
Oh gosh, it's unmatched. And you mentioned seeing the world from her eyes, and I wish I could, and I wish more people could experience her and just her happiness, her glow, and kind of just her outlook on life, because it definitely puts things into perspective. She'll never be down. She's always happy. She'll always brighten the room she's in. And I think it's been awesome, just kind of, like you said, the outside world getting to see that, whether it's Ohio State fans welcomed her, and she's been able to, she gets attention here too. She gets recognized in the stands, and thinks it's the best thing ever. So she's living the life. And like you said, it really does put things into perspective, and kind of just, seeing the world through her eyes is another level, man.
It's well deserved, and she is loved here in Texas, to say the least. I can confidently say that. And you've got a great platform as a WNBA player now. So how can you leverage your platform and your relationship with Emmy to be an advocate for those, to provide greater understanding and inclusion for those who have Down syndrome?
Absolutely. And that's something that I definitely want to get out there and do more. I actually, there was a coffee shop in Washington who had, their employees all had, disabilities. And I actually went in there and was able to get some of their merch, wear it in the walk-in tunnel, and just doing stuff like that, being able to use this platform and kind of shine a light on individuals like that and like Emmy, has been awesome. And like you said, it's something I absolutely need to do more, and I'm excited to, for sure.
I'm so happy you do that. I'll tell you off the record about why I love it as well, but it's so cool that you get to do that for sure. Now, kind of personally, in a fun way, you've obviously made the great move from Ohio to here in Texas. I'm sure you're regretting the heat right now, because I can tell you it's not it's not fun. I mean, I'm in the heart of Texas, so it's probably worsened up in DFW. But what's it been like for you to adjust to living in Texas,
Yeah,
not
the
only
heat's
from a
no joke.
basketball but cultural perspective?
Yeah, the heat's no joke. You got that right. But I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I like laying in the sun, getting a good tan. So it's been complimenting me a little bit. But Texas has been great. Arlington has been great. I haven't made it to downtown Dallas much. I went to one Mavs game, which was awesome, and that's about it. So with our schedule, it's been hard to really explore and get out there. But so far, so good. I love it. I love the atmosphere here. I love the weather. And then obviously basketball and our fans. I've been here just a short amount of time so far, but I can just tell our fans are so passionate. And so, I think sticking with us in times of, hard times and good times is huge, and they do it. So their support means everything to us, and it'll continue to mean everything to us.
We love our sports down here in Texas, as you're finding out. And it's not just about football. We also love women's sports, 100% for sure. Now, for my last question, and I hope I get to interview you many more times down the road. If you could choose anyone in Hollywood to play you in a biopic about your life as a basketball player and as an individual, who would you pick and why?
Oh gosh, that is a great question. Any actress, you mean?
Any actress. You could pick anyone. I don't care.
I would say I don't know her name, but she's in the Divergent series. Um,
Divergent.
if you look it up, you know what I'm talking about because she looks just like me. So, but anyway, um, I'd also say her competitiveness kind of carries over. Just kind of her grit. You can tell in those movies specifically that she has, but definitely her looks. Her looks kind of resemble me, so I would definitely say her. I know, I can see the wheels turning. You're thinking.
Yeah, I am. I think you're talking about Shailene Diane Woodley.
That sounds,
Cheyenne.
I don't know her name, but every time I go back to that movie.
Now I'm gonna have to watch this movie, and when I get to talk to you, hopefully in person or in Zoom again, I'm gonna let you know the verdict
Uh,
on that.
yeah, let me know what you think.
For sure. Is there anything else you want to say to your fans, any family members, like any shout outs you want to give?
I don't think so. Just thanks for all the support, and super excited to be in Dallas.
We're super happy to have you in Dallas and also in all of Texas, since Austin doesn't have any sports. We don't believe in sports. So we'll adopt y'all as well. But hey, listen, Jacy, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck these next several games. And I hope to be there in a couple of weeks for the last game before the Olympic break.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you for having me.